Sony has delayed 6 live service games, PlayStation continues doing record numbers, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 was made in 16 months, and Baldur's Gate 3 swept at the Golden Joystick Awards. All that and more in today's PlayStation news. Let's get to them. Sony has adjusted its live service game release schedule, delaying 6 of the initially planned 12 titles to have by March 2026 due to quality concerns. Despite the delay, COO and CFO Hiroki Totoki affirmed during the Q2 earnings call that the company's mid to long-term focus remains on live services. Among the live service games in development are multiplayer games for The Last of Us and Horizon franchises, a new original IP from PlayStation's London studio, Fair Games and Concord by Haven and Firewalk respectively, plus Marathon by Bungie. Earlier in the year, Sony announced that the development of The Last of Us multiplayer project had been scaled back after an internal review by Bungie. It's unclear which games were delayed past March 2026, but it's likely The Last of Us, Horizon and the game from London Studio see longer delays, while the rest could have a slighter bump, just as we saw recently with Marathon moved internally to 2025. Sony's second quarter fiscal year revealed an 8% increase in sales, reaching $18.5 billion, but a 29% decline in net income. The boost was led by robust sales in gaming, music and movie divisions, particularly driven by Game & Network service sales surging by 32% to $6.31 billion. Software sales rose 26% to $3.16 billion, with 67.6 million PlayStation game copies sold, and Spider-Man 2 helping with over 5 million units in 11 days. Digital software sales notably spiked by 39% to $1.32 billion, while physical sales slightly dropped by 4% to $231 million. Hardware sales, particularly PS5, soared by 60%, selling 4.9 million units, the most they have sold in a Q2 since the PS4 launch, aligning with Sony's expectations and outperforming PS4 sales from 2017 by 25%. PS5 now sits at 46.6 million units sold as they head into the holidays all guns blazing, with several bundles including Spider-Man 2 and new accessories. PSN monthly active users also increased from 102 million last year to 108 million for both PS4 and PS5 in what's usually a weak time period, and they now look to beat 112 million from the holidays last year. The number we are left in the dark is PS Plus subscribers, since the company said they wouldn't report numbers on it anymore. The last number we had was 47.4 million as of March 2023, and it was a 600,000 decline from the 48 million peak in December 2021. With the price increase, a lower number of subscribers is a given, but probably not affected in terms of earnings given the pricier higher tiers. Sony maintains its goal of selling 25 million PS5 units by fiscal year end, capitalizing on a redesigned PS5 and the introduction of the PlayStation Portal for increased holiday season sales. Projections for the fiscal year ending March 2024 are promising, with the gaming sector forecasted to reach $28.85 billion. God of War Ragnarok is celebrating its 1-year anniversary, and Santa Monica Studio is showing its gratitude to the fans. Spoiler warning if you haven't played the game. They have released a lo-fi music playlist inspired by the game's score, a sequel to the Midgar Mishaps outtakes video showcasing humorous moments during the game's development, and a community showcase of combat experts and speedrunners. They also released an infographic highlighting player accomplishments, such as 1.5 million minutes playing Speccy and Svanna, 2.6 million victories against the Valkyrie Queen, more than 35 million Berserker souls defeated, and 23 million Lindworms returned home. In related God of War news, the UK-based Insert Coin clothing store has introduced a range of God of War Ragnarok themed blankets. The blankets come in 3 styles: Odin, Thor and Sif, and Sigrun. Pre-orders for the blankets are available at £34.99 each, with shipping scheduled for December. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 has received harsh criticism for its rushed development, and now a new report by Bloomberg's Jason Schreier explains the reason. Unlike previous titles that took around 3 years to develop, Modern Warfare 3 was completed in just 16 months. The accelerated schedule aimed to fill a gap created by another Call of Duty game's delay. Some developers at Sledgehammer Games, the studio behind Modern Warfare 3, felt betrayed as they were promised a more reasonable timeline, after the release of their previous game Call of Duty Vanguard, which was previously the shortest with about 2 years of development. Activision has denied stories that the game started as DLC, instead saying it was a premium game since the beginning. Studio head Aaron Halon said some team members might have thought it was DLC due to the game being a new type of direct sequel. Modern Warfare 3 started as a smaller scale spin-off set in Mexico. The game's story was rebooted by Activision executives last summer, and the developers had to work on a new one centering on the villain Vladimir Makarov and featuring global missions. This reboot further shortened the development time, leaving the team with approximately 16 months to complete the new campaign, which critics have now panned. Some developers expressed frustration at the lack of clarity regarding the project and having to run their content by executives from Infinity Ward, who run the Modern Warfare series, causing inefficiencies and unwanted changes. After finishing Vanguard and before this game, Sledgehammer wanted to make a spin-off Call of Duty game set in their Advanced Warfare futuristic universe, but the project was scrapped for Modern Warfare. While analysts believe that a critical flop may not have a lasting impact on the Call of Duty franchise or Microsoft plans following its recent acquisition of Activision, a consistent decline in quality could prompt a shift in strategy or a change of the annual release schedule. Despite the negative reception, Sledgehammer Games studio head Aaron Halon described the game as a labor of love and emphasized the team's hard work in delivering on their vision. And yes, it involved hard work as the team was forced to work on nights and weekends to finish the game. The studio replied to the report on social media, pretty much echoing its director's statement that the game was a labor of love and the first true sequel in the history of the franchise that fans had demanded. Here's hoping for a change on this Call of Duty factory now that Microsoft owns them. The Golden Joystick Awards 2023 winners have been revealed. This year's awards, in its 41st edition, took place in person in London and were live-streamed globally. PlayStation took 2 awards, with PSVR 2 being the best hardware and Horizon Call of the Mountain the best VR game. That was complemented with PS5 exclusive Final Fantasy XVI, giving Square Enix an award for Best Audio, Best Lead Performer with Ben Starr as Clive Rosefield, and Most Wanted Game for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, plus Capcom's Resident Evil 4 ended up being the best PlayStation game. Larian Studios' Baldur's Gate 3 won a record-breaking 7 awards, including Best Storytelling, Visual Design, Game Community, Best Supporting Performer with Neil Newborn for Astarion, Best PC Game, and Ultimate Game of the Year. Other winners included Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty for Best Game Expansion, Sea of Stars for Best Indie Game, Mortal Kombat 1 for Best Multiplayer Game, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom won Best Nintendo Game, and Starfield was the best Xbox game. Congrats to all of the winners and their teams. Let's go for a round of quickfire gaming news. Naughty Dog has announced the departure of technology head Christian Gerling after 17 years. Gerling started in Naughty Dog as a programmer in 2006, eventually becoming a lead in 2017, and he played a role in many Naughty Dog games, including Uncharted and The Last of Us series. This is the second high-profile departure for Naughty Dog following co-president Evan Wells, who retired after 25 years this past summer. In a surprising turn of events, Xbox outsold PlayStation in Japan yet again for the second week straight, including both PS5 and PS4. Who's to blame for this? Well, Sony themselves, as the reason behind this is the imminent release of the new PS5 model, causing consumers to wait for the redesigned version. As all stock is phased out, the new slim PS5 is expected to boost Sony's sales once it's in stores. Xbox Series did over 5,000 units combined against PS5's 1.1 thousand and PS4 1.3 thousand units, all of them outsold by the Switch with 58.9 thousand and Super Mario Wonder on the top of the gaming chart. The next Mass Effect game's release is reportedly quite distant, possibly not until 2028 or 2029. BioWare may have revealed a teaser clip for N7 Day this week, but the game appears to be far from ready. According to insider Jeff Grubb on his Game Mess Mornings podcast, this extended development timeline is similar to Dragon Age Dreadwolf, announced in 2018 and potentially releasing in 2024. With the next Mass Effect officially announced at the Game Awards in 2020, and the team helping Dragon Age pass the finish line, we're gonna have to wait a long while. WB plans to transform its major franchises into live service games across various platforms, to attract more players, according to CEO David Zaslav in a recent earnings call. The company aims to extend the engagement and monetization of games like Mortal Kombat, despite criticism of microtransactions. WB holds valuable gaming properties such as Harry Potter and Batman, and intends to leverage them for increased post-purchase revenue. The upcoming GTA 6 is completely protected from potential voice actor strikes, says Take-Two CEO Stross Zelnick. While negotiations with SAG-AFTRA video game actors are ongoing, Zelnick is optimistic about the resolution. In the worst-case scenario, the executive assures that GTA 6 won't be affected, possibly because its voice lines have already been recorded. SAG-AFTRA has a strike pre-approved by its members, but they are still negotiating to address concerns like being replaced by AI and mandatory breaks. Digital Extremes, known for Warframe or the more recent MMO Wayfinder, is the latest studio to join the industry layoffs, with over 30 employees from their external and publishing branches confirmed to lose their jobs. The company is focusing its resources internally and will cease its support for Wayfinder, transferring full ownership to developer Airship Syndicate in the coming months. This move follows a change in leadership, with Steve Sinclair taking over as CEO in place of founder James Schmaltz, praying for those affected. Persona 5 Strikers, an action RPG developed by Omega Force, has achieved over 2 million units in total sales worldwide. The game was initially released for PS4 and Switch in Japan in February 2020, followed by releases in other regions on various platforms including PS4, Switch, and PC in 2021. Artwork for the yet-to-be officially revealed game LEGO 2K Goal was leaked on the PlayStation Store under the codename Build Up. This supports previous reports of 2K Games' multi-game partnership with LEGO, including a racing game that launched in May and a football game. LEGO 2K Goal has also been rated in various countries for PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, Switch, and PC. The acclaimed indie game Braid, released in 2008 and known for its time manipulation mechanics, is receiving an anniversary edition on various platforms, including PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, PC, and Netflix, set for April 30, 2024. This edition features enhanced sound, new soundtrack mixes, hand-repainted graphics by the original artist, smoother animations, and a developer commentary track, plus players can switch between the old and new versions of the game. And those are the PlayStation stories for today. What are your thoughts on them? Let us know in the comments below, give this video a thumbs up or down to let me know your feedback, check out more content you may like as well, and subscribe for more on PlayStation. Thank you so much for watching, my name is Joseph, this is Hype for Games, and let's get hype!